Just a second. Yeah, we are live. Just
Okay,
wait for
great.
5 seconds for the stream delay, and then we can start.
That's fine. I think it goes live. It starts immediately. But in the meantime, hi everyone. Can someone confirm or give me my team on WhatsApp group link to our social channel on WhatsApp, Facebook, and okay, great. And someone give me the link of YouTube channel as well. And with that, I hand it over to you, Shivansh. Maybe do the quick introduction.
Yep. Thank you very much, sir. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to the session number 2 of our Oracle Cloud Infra Foundation for Beginners free live training workshop organized by your favorite cloud learning platform K21 Academy, where you learn from the expert. Before I move forward, let me welcome you all for whoever is joining us for this session number 2. And while I introduce you guys towards today, what we'll be covering in today's session and who we are for our speakers, please do mention in the chat whether it's your session number 1 or it's your session number 2, so that we can also get to know that as well. My name is Shivansh Thakur. I am from K21 Academy. I'm your host and moderator for today's session. I hope you're all ready and fired up for this learning packed with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Foundation free training session number 2. Today we have with us again two very highly experienced and trained Oracle Cloud and data experts. First, we have with us Mr. Atul Kumar, who is an author, cloud expert, and the founder of K21 Academy with 21 plus years of experience in the IT industry. He has worked on some of the biggest cloud migrations in the UK and have personally helped over 8,000 plus individuals just like you with their career to move to cloud and databases. We also have Mr. Amit with us today, who is a blogger, Microsoft and Oracle certified database expert with a combined experience of 20 plus years in the IT industry and has mentored thousands of students throughout his career. This is the session number 2 of these 4 sessions of free Oracle Cloud Infra Foundation training that is being organized by K21 Academy for all of you guys. In this session, we will be covering the two modules, Module 2 and Module 3 of OCI Fundamentals and OCI Core Services. That includes IAM, Compute, and Networking. So I hope you guys are ready for this particular session because I'm definitely excited after the success of the first one. You guys really loved it. We saw it in the comments, we saw it in the ratings that we gave us. So I hope you guys are ready for this learning packed session. And also, one additional thing to mention, if you guys like these sessions and if you want some new topic that you want us to cover, please do mention it in the comment section. Our team will be noting that and we will try to come up with those particular topics for you guys. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Okay, guys. Thank you very much, Shivansh, for this. Um, I think there's a little bit echo on. Is it my audio? I don't know. Can everyone go on mute on my team? Just wanted to see if it's my echo. I hope everyone is in mute still. Maybe I don't know whether it's my camera. There's an integrated camera, but it's okay. Hopeful I should be able to not listen. Yeah, it's gone now. Brilliant, guys. So big thank you for guys on day one or today's day two. But day one, we still have around 6 minutes or so. We'll be starting. There are a lot of you guys are joining. So big thank you for those who have joined day one. I see a lot of comments are saying they missed day one. So nothing to worry about. First, yeah, day one and day two recording will be available for you on the same page where you've registered, which is k21academy.com/1Z0-1085. So can someone tell me what is the representation? What is this number 1Z0-1085 in the comment section? And tell me also let me know where are you from, and what's your background and what is your ultimate objective of attending the day one. For those who missed it, let me know whether you attended day one or missed it. If you missed it, nothing to worry about. Day one should be available in the portal. First 2 days should be available. Replay should be available on the portal page. After that, if you want the day 3 4, and we might add a day 5 based on the pace at which we are going, uh, because we want to make sure that you get maximum value from this training. We don't want to rush, and that's why we want to go at a pace where everyone is comfortable with the training. So if you really want day 3, 4, 5, make sure you join live, because recording will be available for day 3, 4, 5 only to our members. I'll explain that as well in a minute. Um, and those of you who are from YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook, and on our for my GoToWebinar members who are part of GoToWebinar, you will have the recording available for you at your membership portal. Also, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat window wherever you're watching that. And you also have, especially for the paid members or program members or those who are part of our membership, you know that you can ask question in WhatsApp group as well. Now, Manoj, welcome here. Abhay, Uma, Ang Angola, session number 1. I think you missed some. If you missed, winner is saying missed day 1. So the day 1 recording is available on k20academy.com/1Z0-1085. Hi Jagat, Ravindra, and again Ravindra missed day 1. So day 1 should be available on the portal for as well. Let me go and quickly check out on my YouTube channel, and if there's any questions comes while before we start on our GoToWebinar, let me know as well. And I think this time, are we doing okay, Shivansh, on Facebook, or we still have Facebook? People are not
Yeah, so
uh,
we are up and running on our Facebook as well.
great. Is it Facebook page or is it Facebook group or both of them?
Just give me 1 second to check.
Okay, I think I got the link. It's a Facebook page, but it's okay. YouTube channel. In the meantime, if there is any question for me before we start, or if we want to take any 1 or 2 questions from the last week, would love to take that as well. From the last week, if you want to take any questions from the last week. So there is a roughly around how much, I'm just checking, 20 seconds or so delay. Okay. Um, I'm just trying to check if there's any comment. How do I check my comments on my? Okay. Amit, do you want to take 1 or 2 questions from the last session that we missed? So there was a homework given to all of you, which was create a free Oracle Cloud account. How many of you guys were able to uh, complete the day 1 or complete that lab? Let me know about that as well. I quickly come back. I just want to have a forgot. I just wanted to quickly come back and have a glass of water. In the meantime, we still have around 2 minutes. Amit, do you mind taking some questions, or if you have, or maybe ask questions from what we covered on day 1, and let's see how many of guys can answer that. If not, we'll explain that some of the concepts again here um, as well. I'll be back in a minute. We still have around 1 minute 56 seconds. We'll be starting in 1 minute 56 seconds or so. Amit, over to you.
So you can speak now. Your mic was mute previously.
Okay.
I can pick up
Am I
a
audible
few
now?
questions for you. You can directly answer them. Yeah, you are audible now.
Okay.
We've got a question on YouTube by Ramarju Musku. I'm Oracle EBS DBA. Can you please give me the path for cloud?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. So I know many people are, from the DBA background here and from the apps DBA background. So for them, the first entry to the cloud is what we are covering here, 1.0.85 OCI Foundation, which is going to give the 360-degree overview of complete Oracle Cloud portfolio. And once this is done, then the next will be the Oracle Cloud Associate 1Z0-1072. So that is what the next level of learning will be, which is going to take the deep dive of all the services of Oracle Cloud. And once that is done, then in parallel, or say after completing or comfortable with OCI, can go with EBS on OCI. So what are the options there? What are the tools there? And yes, we have got a program, um, 8-week program on EBS on cloud as well, apart from 1072 certification. So maybe you can share the link, Shivansh.
Okay, guys, thank you very much, Amit. We are on top of our. Can we go on full screen now? And Shivansh, if we can go on full screen, and I'll unmute and hand it over if whenever required. Okay, so let me see. Hey, Bhaskaran,
Yep.
welcome here, guys. Okay, so I hope I'm audible and loud and clear on all the platforms, and then let's continue from here. Is it okay? Brilliant. Shivansh, confirm me. It's all okay.
Yes, yes, sir, it is.
Brilliant. Okay, guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome to this day two of probably initially we thought 4 days, but we might have to extend by one more day, which is fifth day, which is on. We might extend one more day on this, depending on how it goes today. This is a free, full fundamental cloud infrastructure course. We are happening. This is happening on every Saturday and Sunday. So we started with 1st of August. Today is the second day, 7th, and then we'll have 8th and then 14th. And if required, we might have to add one more day, 15th of August, which is probably India's Independence Day. The session timings are 7:30 to 9:30 a.m. PST, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. GMT, 8 to 10 p.m. IST. Today's day two. For those who missed day one, watch that replay on k20academy.com/1Z0-1085 on the same page. The replay will not be available for long there, so make sure you watch it. Also, the first two, which is yesterday and today, or last week and today's, will be available, and we might extend one more day, which is available on the portal or on replay will be available for a couple of days. But after that, we'll take it down. But the remaining days, which are 8th, 14th, 15th, we may not give that recording. So make sure you watch the replay. Make sure you attend live at this time if you really want to make best out of this training. Those who are part of the members, you will have the recording. You will have lifetime access, which we'll talk about that as well in a minute. So this is 1Z0-1085 fundamental. My name is Atul from team K21 Academy, and with me I have Amit and Shivans who will be moderating. We have a couple of other guys from my team as well who will be answering all your questions from the different places. Again, we covered this in detail in day one, so I'm not going to repeat it. I'll quickly recap. This is what we are going to cover, or this is what we are learning. And I highly recommend you to learn the second part, which is 1Z0-1072. And this is where architect associate, this is where the highest number of job opportunities, the most in demand certification as well from Oracle's point of view, which is architect associate. Whether you are a administrator, whether you are a developer, whether you are a architect, whether you are an administrator, database administrator, this is highly regarded because this will give you the full picture about Oracle cloud infrastructure. Now, this is what we said. For those who have not yet registered, I highly recommend you to register on this portal, k20academy.com/1Z0-1085, so that you get reminders. You also get the homework which we have given. So last week we gave homework of creating a Oracle account, and I hope you all should have created an account. If there's any problem, post in the chat window so we can see or guide you on. My team will guide you on where to look for this trouble, or where to troubleshoot, or how to troubleshoot, or way to resolve that problem if you're hitting any problem. Now, day one, we initially thought we'll be covering cloud concept, which you've covered. Now, today we are going to cover OCI fundamental building block, which is module 2. And then we'll try to cover some of the core services today here, if time permits. If we can't finish all of them, probably we might put some of these onto the day 3, and we'll extend by one more day, as I said. Now, I also mentioned that recording are available on the port page. So I'll quickly show you where can you find the recording of that page as well. So give me 1 minute. So you go to k21academy.com/1Z0-1085 is the URL, and scroll down somewhere slightly here. So this is where you will register your, if you have not yet registered, and this is where you'll be watching the day one, and day two will be available once it comes, probably tomorrow, or by tomorrow you will have the day two recording, the recording which we are, or the live session we are doing here. Now, going back to on this slide here. Now, those who are part of our members, those who are members, you should already have this in the program should be available for you. You can check it out by going to your portal on under my courses. In that, you will have the not just Oracle Cloud, but also AWS Azure Cloud, or Oracle DBA, or Apps DB, or DevOps related program as well. So All the 5 modules which you should be knowing should be available on for you for all our members, including the short videos of all these lessons, including the quizzes, or whether to check whether you've learned enough those quizzes. And some of these quizzes we are going to show it here for you as well. So all these modules 1 to 5 are available already for you. You can start immediately learning. Now, one is you can check it out by going to my courses, but under library we have a lot of other courses as well. So you have access to 1Z0-1085, you have access to AZ900, you're also, which is a Azure fundamental, you also have access to AWS Cloud Practitioner, which is for beginners. If the all the recordings which we are happening should be available for you under a replay section, so you go and check it out under live replay. So earlier we had, I think on 24th of July we had data fundamental, then we had uh, data fundamental 1 2, we had OCI, we had, I think tomorrow will be coming AWS recording as well here, so you should have AWS as well. And then also, if you're not joined WhatsApp group, make sure go under community and click and join our WhatsApp group so that you get notifications and you can ask questions in WhatsApp group as well. So this is all for members. Those who are not a member, I'm going to discuss about that or tell a bit later on how you can become member, which is where you can either go for a monthly subscription with with interactive sessions like these, but you also have an opportunity to ask questions on WhatsApp group or via the ticketing system. If you go for a annual subscription, you probably might be getting sample exam questions, also interview questions, CV preparation, and will help you on job support for that time or for the entire year. You can cancel anytime, and there are weekly live interactive sessions like that where you will have an opportunity to ask questions. So we don't do just Oracle Cloud. We on that portal you will have Azure, Google, AWS, etc. as well, DevOps, Docker, etc. How you can get hold of, or I'll cover that let's little bit later. So there is a yearly subscription, or you can go for monthly subscription. Those who are already part of joined recently, you should have received an email like this. So make sure you join WhatsApp group, and if you need any help, you can reach us out here. So this is for members, all our members, those who already members. Now, I already mentioned who this certification is for, 1Z0-1085, which is for fundamental cloud foundation, whether you're working on anyone who's working on any Oracle cloud, this will be helpful, whether it's a as a database administrator, system administrator, non-technical, technical, this certification will be helpful for all of you. And this is the roadmap which we said, 5 modules, and then you prepare for the exam here. So last week we covered cloud concepts, cloud fundamentals. We were supposed to complete the fundamental block as well of OCI. We couldn't complete because of time. So today we are going to complete this OCI fundamental block today, and then we'll add remaining things. So this is what we covered. We covered cloud characteristics. We looked at service model, IaaS, PaaS, SaaS. We also looked at the example of IaaS, PaaS, SaaS there. We also looked at deployment model, public, private, hybrid cloud. We also looked at clouded customer as an example, or private cloud example. We also looked at, this is what we probably, hopefully, I'm not sure. Amit, did we cover this on this last week, or I forgot about whether we covered this or not, or we are going to cover it today? These fundamentals, region, availability, domain, fault domain. I think this is what we are going to
Um,
cover today.
we are going to cover today, right?
Brilliant. Yeah. So this is what we are going to cover today, which is region, availability domain, and fault domains, what these means. And what is the context with respect to high availability disaster recovery when you're going to set up, whether it's a database, whether it's application, and whatever type of application with its storage, networking, and your compute, which is virtual machine, and users and groups. How do you take care of all high availability and disaster recovery? Now, this is what I said earlier, homework. If you've not done, maybe create an account by going to k20academy.com/cloud01. And this is a blog which you have done with a video, which I did a couple of, I think last year. Still applicable. If you need any help, let my team know. So enter, like there is a step-by-step guide, or you can also use the video. The creation of account is quite simple and straightforward, but you'll need debit or credit card with phone number, email address. If you already created an account in past, make sure you use these details, different details, so that you can create an account. Then we are also going to look OCI Console. And then next week we are going to look at, or tomorrow we're going to look at IAM services. If time permit, we'll look it today. If not, we'll pick it tomorrow or next week or tomorrow. IAM services, then networking. We'll be looking at storage. These are the compute options, which is my different storage. Sorry, my compute option, which is nothing but my virtual machines, memory, CPU on which the processing can happen, containers, Kubernetes functions. So I'm not going to repeat this now. Let's hand it over. Oh, by the way, if we'll also be covering about databases, what are the database services available on Oracle Cloud? So if you're a DBA, it will be good to know from a database concept point of view as well. Again, we covered this in day one, so make sure that you watch day one again thoroughly if you have not yet looked at. Also, let me know how many of you guys registered or attended last week, and if not, let me know about that as well in the chat window. We got last week excellent feedback, super feedback. So thank you very much for those who have rated us and gave good feedback, and thank you very much for that. Some of our success stories: k21academy.com/customer-reviews. These are video testimonials. Also, k21academy.com/testimonial, just to give you the confidence that whatever you're learning here is, there are lots and hundreds of guys like you who are part of a membership or member our programs have got the result as well. And with that, they've done the certifications as well. We'll cover that a little bit later. With that, I want to do is I want to hand it over to Amit. But before I hand it over to Amit, I just want to know from you, what's your background? Are you beginner, intermediate, expert? Have you done? We did that exercise. We do it with every session. So to know what kind of a background or people are coming. So let me know what your background is, and I'm going to pick some of your names after introducing myself and Amit. Hey Anmol, welcome here, buddy. Now, this is me. This is me, Atul from team K21 Academy. I've been working on Oracle Cloud for a good number of years now. In total, IT 21 years. I've helped 8,500 individuals like you to learn cloud and cloud native technologies. I'm author. I'm an Oracle Ace, which are awarded by Oracle. And this is just to show you that whatever is coming from real experience. You also have Amit. He's brilliant in terms of Oracle Apps DBA, Oracle eBusiness Suite, Oracle databases, cloud. He's a speaker, blogger, and he also takes our Oracle and Oracle Cloud as well as Terraform programs, which is cloud automation. So let me know about you, and where is all audience coming from? And can someone confirm in my team, please? Shivansh, where the audience, where the users are? Maybe one or two guys.
Yes, sir. Just give me 1 second. We've got a number of users on YouTube as well as LinkedIn, and we've got a few questions as well.
Okay, make a note of questions. I'm going to pick them in a minute before I hand it over. So guys, this is what I wanted to tell you. This is what you're focusing on, 1Z0-1085. And if you can hand it over the screen to Amit, let's cover, and then I'll pick these questions at a next logical point. So over Amit, over to you. If you can swap the screens, please.
Amit, sir, you'll have to share your screen on StreamYard as well.
Yes.
Brilliant. So, Anmol, you're working as an Oracle DBA in a banking domain. So, what you should be doing, Anmol, is I think ask in our WhatsApp group because we're coming up as a DBA Exadata Cloud Service, Exadata Clouded Customer, and 1Z0-1093 is the program we have come up, which should be starting in soon. So, make sure you attend those sessions because that is going to be very useful. What we have not noticed is Exadata Clouded Customer is picking up more and more. Please, any other question from my team? Let me know as well. Amit, whenever you're ready, please.
The screen
Okay.
has been shared, sir.
Okay, great. Over to you, Amit.
Okay. I'm audible, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So hi everyone once again, and let's start our this week learning. So today we are going to talk about OCI Foundation, OCI architecture, basically the foundation of Oracle Cloud infrastructure, how it is designed at the back end, how are regions, what are regions, availability domains, fault domains. That is what we are going to cover. Now where this is going to help is, when we are designing or deploying our applications, this plays a very important role in where you need to put your application, how you can design the high availability, the disaster recovery. So all these concepts we have covered it in our day one last week. So now how those concepts are implemented, that is what we are going to see. Right. So I'm just skipping the introduction part. Okay. So this is what going to be our agenda today. The OCI fundamental blocks. We are going to talk about the regions, the availability domain, fault domains, and we are going to touch base the designing concepts here, and register for the free tier account. That is already as an homework has been given to you. So I will not go through that, but yes, I'm going to walk through that, how you can register the account, and various ways how you can access the Oracle Cloud infrastructure. That is what we are going to see. Right. So let's start with the OCI fundamental block. Now OCI, if you see, and if those who have already registered their account, there might be one term which they came across, that might be the region. Now that is what the outer boundary which of Oracle Cloud infrastructure. So region is basically the geographical location where Oracle is going to have their data centers. Now Oracle can have up to 3 data centers in each region, and these data centers are termed as availability domain. Okay, so availability domain is nothing but the Oracle data center, and these data centers are basically having the hardware implemented, and the storage hardware, compute servers, big compute servers, and the network connectivity is there, through which Oracle is providing the services. Okay, so you have 3 availability domains or 3 data centers which are named as AD1, AD2, and AD3. And within these availability domain, you will find the logical data center as well. Up to 3 logical centers are there in each availability domain, and they are termed as the fault domains. Okay, now what are these terms, region, availability domain, and fault domain, and how they will be helpful in designing your architecture, your high availability, your disaster recovery? Let's take a deep dive into that. Right. So just, if I want to give you a high level overview here, a region is basically the geographical area, which might be any city, any country is there. Like in India, it is Hyderabad and Mumbai, or if you say move to UK or US, so all the cities which are there, that is all considered as the region. So it is basically the geographical area which basically accommodates the data center. So Oracle is going to prepare the data center. So Oracle is going to give you the outer boundary that, okay, this in this region my data center is there, and that will be my region. Okay, now these data centers are basically known as the availability domain. Now these data centers, if it is like up to 3 data centers are there, if there are 3 data centers in Oracle region, these 3 data centers are all well connected to each other. Okay, so Oracle either can have 1 or 3 data centers as of now, but Oracle is trying to add more data centers which has got only say 1 in the region. So Oracle is going to add it. So that is going according to the plan. Oracle is expanding as a very fast pace, and you can see a lot of data centers are coming up as per the plan. Every year around 5 to 8 data centers Oracle is adding, a region is adding, and in that region Oracle is creating data centers, multiple data centers in it. So these data centers are fault tolerant data centers, and they are all connected with each other within the region. Now each data center has got the logical data centers. Now that is basically the different rack of hardware which gives you a more fault tolerant in case of any hardware failure. After all, it is an hardware, error might occur, failure might occur. So to give you one more layer of protection where you can put put it in your design and can make your instance, your application, your business more fault tolerant against the hardware failure. So that is what we are going to see now, that what region is. Now this is basically the Oracle Cloud Stack, and here if you see, this is give you the overall design of the Oracle data center. If you see at the backend, at the last row here at the bottom, this gives you the Oracle region. Now Oracle region has got basically the data centers, you can see here, one or maybe three data centers. Now over and above that, it has got a physical network, and then the virtual network has been created. And above that, Oracle is providing all its services. So either it can be compute, storage, databases, and these are only few high level categories, but Oracle is providing around 200 plus services now. So over that, you can see you have got your application deployed here. You have designed it according to, like, the fault tolerance, like you want to deploy your application. So you have taken the compute services, the database services for storing the data. You have designed your own network. So all these services are there. But we are basically focusing at the bottom layer in this session, which talks about the region, availability domain, and the fault domain. Right. So most of you might not have seen. Yes, please.
As well. Um, okay, so let's take one or two questions here. Amit, the first question is, I think it's a good question coming is, can you go back to the previous slide, on the previous slide? Yep, brilliant. Yep, this one, or maybe one before that as well. I think the one before. Yep, great here. So the question first is coming from Balakrishna from our GoToWebinar of members, is if there's any issue or any outage required for availability domain, then fault domain will be used. So what happens is, if you notice here, can you go back on one more slide where you have availability domain and fault domain? Yeah. So if you look at Balakrishna, the availability domain has fault domain. So if availability domain is, if there is any problem outage on availability domain, the all three fault domain will be not be available. So what you need to do, you need to make sure that your um, you need to make sure that you have another availability domain. Your application is running on another availability domain, and that is where high availability comes into picture. So when you're running a virtual machine, make sure you run a virtual machine across two availability domain if you want to protect your application against availability domain failure. Similarly, your databases, if you're running a database on availability domain one, and you want high availability, you want to make sure that, if you want to ensure that you want to protect against availability domain one, you should have a DR running on the AD2, or you might have a rack, real application cluster running on availability domain 2, and so on. And so depending on if you're running Exadata cloud service, Exadata, you may or may not have an opportunity. Like for example, in Exadata, you don't have an opportunity to run one Exadata machine across two availability domains. So you might need to run two Exadata cloud services across availability domain. We'll cover that, those respective sessions on high availability when we go deeper into respective programs. I'm sure you have you are part of those respective programs in that. Next is Abhirami Singh. What is the percentage availability of fault domain, availability domain? Now, Oracle, there is a whole chapter from Oracle about the like what is their SLA with respect to availability domain, fault domain, and based on that, when you're designing your application, you need to consider those factors. So there's a availability of the whole region, there's a availability of availability domain, there's availability of fault domain, and within that, your availability of each service, like your database, your application compute, your network load balancers, etc. So when you're designing the high availability, the service level agreements of availability, you need to make sure that all of these are considered properly. And that is the role of architect. That's one question. Okay, we'll be picking up all other questions as well, guys. Don't worry. First of all, Seema Rao is saying, I'm not sure she wants to say interested on LinkedIn. I'm not sure what you're interested. Okay, Sayed, those who are joining late, the recording of this session will be available on our page, k20academy.com/1Z0-1085, but it'll be available only for first 2 days, which was previous week and this week, or this week. And then after that, it'll be for all our members inside our membership. Yogita from YouTube is saying that our course completion will get a certificate. The certificate for course completion is all only for our paid program members. If you are a member, then you will be getting it. Okay, Habatamanu, Tamir, I've picked up your question. Um, Gautam, I've picked up your question as well. That I'm a tech support, how will be useful. Mukesh Kulkarni from YouTube is I'm an Oracle Apps DBA and a beginner on cloud. How this will be helpful, or just giving an Oracle Apps DBA. So Oracle e-business suite is migrating to cloud, or we have a lot of customers. We did one of the biggest migrations in UK, migrating the complete e-business suite for having a huge number of customer base with 50 terabyte of e-business suite databases migrating to cloud. So make sure that you learn how to build, manage, and migrate e-business suite on Oracle Cloud if you're an Oracle Cloud background as well. Okay, let's rest all our beginner. Thank you very much. Riaz is saying, unable to create a free account, please provide me steps to do that. So when you say you're unable to create a free account, what error you're hitting, Riaz? We have a Telegram group, which when you register for this free class, there should be a Telegram link. Post in the Telegram link what error you're hitting. It could be that you don't have an international credit card payment, international um, credit or debit card, international payment enabled. If not, enable that, or you should have already created a account using that card. So use a new card or different phone number. Lokesh from LinkedIn is saying, I'm a fresher to cloud platform and attending this session to know what is cloud and its advantage. I tried creating a cloud account but don't have international credit card. Any other way to get cloud created? No, there's no other way. Make sure you have a credit or debit card with the international payment enabled. um, Rama Raju is saying, I'm an Oracle Apps DBA. Can you please give me path of, or let me post this. I'm an Oracle Apps DBA. Can you please give me path for cloud? So I think you go from here, which is what you're attending here, foundation. After that, you go for OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Amit, can you give us, or we have a free class which will be talking about for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure architect level. That is what you should be doing, architect, or you can go for databases. And there's another program which is Apps DBA, how to build, manage, and migrate e-business suite. Ramajaju will post that as well. Keep an eye inbox. We'll be answering that. My team, can you pick that question as well? This is a good question. Um, Another one, Riyaz is saying, I haven't got a reminder for link day 2 session after so many trails in YouTube. Finally got the link for day 2 session. Sincere apologies, Riyaz. My team will, if you share your email address, my team will check that why you didn't get a reminder for that. We'll take care of this next time. Sorry for that. Okay, let's continue over to you. One more thing I was saying, Seema is saying, miss the day 1 session. What is the difference between, Syed is saying, what is the difference between RTO and RPO? And this is what we also have a AWS free class which is running like that. You have a free class on Oracle, and it's a very good question, Syed. Let me read out this question, which is question is very good from Syed. What is difference between RTO and RPO? Recovery time objective, recovery point objective. Um, we had this Thursday, every Thursday we are doing the way we are doing for Oracle Cloud, we are doing for AWS Cloud as well. Amit, can you go to one URL, k21academy.com/AWS live? So k21academy.com/AWS live. If you're a beginner in cloud, I highly recommend you. That was a brilliant session we had on this Thursday. So k21academy.com, or let me, okay, yeah, k21academy.com/AWS live. Very good question, RTO versus RPO. Recovery time objective, recovery point objective. Recovery time means how much time it will take for you to recover. It will take 1 hour, 1 day, or 1 minute, 30 minutes. What is your recovery time? Recovery point means if your data, if your servers fail, k2academy.com AWS live, please. Yeah. So recovery point objective is no, k2academy.com/AWS live. AWS live. k2academy.com/AWS live, please. Yeah. So this is a free class we are doing for AWS, but there we covered the cloud concept. In that, the instructor covered about the same exact topic, RTO and RPO. And I think, Amit, we covered on day 1 as well, if I'm not wrong. Is that this
Yes,
should? Oh yeah,
right.
sorry for
Yes, we
that. I
covered
didn't
it.
realize. I forgot. Yeah. So we covered RTO and RPO on day 1. So maybe worth checking. I totally forgot. On looked at that as well. One more thing is saying data backup and data backup and replication. Backup is you're taking, making sure you're taking a backup, and replication is you're replicating it one more place as well. Let's continue, Amit. Over to you, um, from here. Amit,
Right.
over to you.
So yeah. So apart from that, we have discussed about the SLA point. So there is one more point I want to add it. Like if Oracle SLA, whatever is defined, 99.59% and all availability, and if that service or that region or availability domain is not available for that time, Oracle gives you the credit as well for that. Whatever your options are, now Oracle has recently started giving the credit on that. So you will be paid if the service is not according to the SLAs.
Okay, while we are this, there are two more questions, Amit, have come, and I'm sorry, but these questions are good. Um,
Yeah.
so Abhiram is saying, do I design AD1 as my active production reference and AD2 as a disaster recovery, or fault domain is active disaster? Abhiram, I think it's a discussion we need to go. I'm not sure which program you're part of, but in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Architect, we're going to go deep into this. There will be a dedicated module and dedicated session about um, it will all depend
We,
on your requirement and which region you're part of, where exactly you want to put your data centers, because not every data center, sorry, not every region has three availability domain. Some regions have only one availability domain. So it depends on how you design. We have a dedicated in Oracle Cloud Architect certification, associate certification program. We go deep. There's a dedicated full day we take about high availability and disaster recovery. Okay. Monali is saying, I've completed 100-1067 OCI Cloud Operations Associate. Then after this, I need to complete 1085, or I can go further certification. Okay, Monali, you can go for. There is no such like you have to first do foundation and then only you can do others. You can do anything in any order for you. Yep. So no need. Again, ask these questions in WhatsApp group if it's still not clear. Michael is saying, how do you know that your disaster recovery strategy works? Can you test it before you have to use it? Yes, absolutely. You can test it. So, Michael, what you can do is you can shut down. Let's suppose you want to test your disaster recovery and you want to see whether you recovered across your availability domain. So, and that's what we did testing again. If you're part of OCI, we are going to cover, as I said, a whole plan. And so what we did is we shut down the whole services within one availability domain and say my application is still working or not. um, so some things you will be able to check, some things you won't be able to, and that is where you will be relying on Oracle. But you can check my anything that you have control, like machines, your databases, you can all control all of them. Michael, and again, if it's still not clear, make follow up question in our WhatsApp group. Amit, over to you. Let's continue from here.
yeah, so I think we can basically cover few more slides, and most of the questions will be answered there because we are going to take a closer look of region, availability domain, and fault domain. Right, so this is basically about the OCI data center tool. You can just go through this YouTube link and you can see how the data center look like, or how Oracle prepares their data center. So it's a good video, interesting one. Okay, so let's start with the region. Now region, as I say, it is a geographical location, and you can see here, the London, Frankfurt, Ashburn, Phoenix, all these are basically the region. To have a better look, it is basically going to be have a geographical location in different geographies around the globe, where Oracle sees that the business is there, and business is more. Oracle first plan in the phase manner and prepare the data center over there. Now this is basically widely spread, and has got the disaster recovery capabilities as well. So there quite possible that, okay, you in your country you might have two regions available. Like if I say talk about Middle East has got two regions. One is in Dubai and another is in Jeddah. So that is how you can plan your disaster recovery. You don't have need a multiple availability domains. Not necessary it should be there, but it can be different region as well. So Oracle can help you in setting up multiple regions for your disaster recovery and all, and you can use resources from both the regions. Now Oracle basically has got all the data centers available here, and that is what we can see. So Oracle has got basically two types of regions. Okay, one is the commercial region and another one is the government region. Now we know that government has got a lot of sensitive data available for their countrymen, and everything is there very secured. So they need a secured environment which is not publicly available. So Oracle has got the government data centers in the government regions. So Oracle has prepared the government regions which are not accessible to us. Okay, unless and until you are not, you doesn't belong to the government organization and have approached Oracle to for the region access, you will not be having access to those region at all. Apart from that, Oracle has got the commercial cloud regions the where we can have, or it is publicly available to anyone. So whatever you are registering from your accounts for Oracle account, Oracle cloud account, that are all the commercial regions. Government regions are not available any by anyhow, to the public. Right, so we are basically going to talk about the commercial regions. So geographical location where the data centers are located, and you can see right now Oracle has got these many regions, and they are still count is on. Initially Oracle has, when have started, have got 4 regions. The first 4, if you see, which has got multiple data centers within it. So you can see here 3 availability domains. The rest now Oracle is coming is all basically going to have the single availability domain. But depending upon the requirement, depending upon the business in that region or country or so, Oracle is going to add multiple data centers in it. So that is going according to the Oracle strategy. Now, why so many regions are there? Okay, the main idea for having so many regions or spreading the data centers globally is basically, if suppose my business is mainly into America, then it will be better, it will be in my proximity, the applications which I'm accessing it that have got low latencies there, so that I can use it. Okay, apart from that, because of the compliance and data residency laws, like in UK or Europe, you has got the GDPR. In Middle East, you have got like you cannot put your data in on the hardware which is not belonging to their country. So that data residency restrictions are there. Because of that, Oracle has developed multiple data centers or multiple regions across the globe. So here you can also design it for the availability as well. In case one region is not available, you can quickly plan and you can design your application to be available in the second region. So that is where you can see multiple regions at Oracle site. Now this map basically shows what all regions are coming this year. Few are already in place for this 2021, and Oracle has got complete roadmap what kind of data centers they need to open at the government plan. Oracle also has got a tie-up with Azure as well, so the data centers are coming is like having an interconnect with Azure. Built-in interconnect is there. So that is how everything is planned and is coming up. So you can see multiple data centers. Now this is going to be more, there will be more data centers added down the line. Okay, so now we are familiar with the region. Now let's have a closer look of availability domain. So if I say this is my region, okay, these are my say regions there. If I see the closer look, a region has got basically the availability domain within it. Okay, now these availability domain, each availability domain is basically one data center. Okay, so region can have 1 or maximum 3 data centers as of now. And you can see these data centers, if there are 3 data centers, these data centers are all interconnected with each others. Okay, so if I see what all is, oops, sorry, yeah. So this is say my region, and it has got 3 data centers within it. And I have deployed my application across the 3 data centers, so that in case my one data center is not available, I can have another 2 to serve my business request. Okay, now this web servers here are deployed. They are deployed across multiple data centers and can be accessed across by the end users. So this gives me the high availability of my application across the data center. Okay, now here have a more closer look like what is going to be in the availability domain. So availability domain is nothing but the data center, and it provides you the foundation for high availability. Okay, within the region. So now I can deploy my application, I can distribute my application across the data center, across the 2 data centers or across the 3 data centers if I have an option in my region that there are 3 data centers available. Okay, now these data centers are connected with each other with the low latency network. So all the services are available here. And in case if my one data center is down, this is not going to affect my other 2 data centers at all. So it is completely isolated via power points, via cooling. They are not sharing any hardware within them, and they are completely isolated from each other, but they are connected with a high connectivity network, low latency network. So that is the beauty here. If you are planning to design your high availability or disaster recovery, you need to know all these things in prior, that what is the basic infrastructure design of Oracle data center. So here these data centers are isolated, and as I have mentioned that if my one data center is down, it is not going to affect the other data centers. Nothing is shared between the data centers, no hardware sharing is done, everything is independent and isolated from each other. And it is very unlikely that multiple data centers are getting failed at the same time. So that is what the SLA and that is what the design Oracle has done. Okay, so these are like all connected with each other. You can design it for the high availability, and you can deploy your application for high availability on the using multiple availability domain. So here this is like the screenshot from the portal itself. So say when you are creating your compute instance, you can see here what all data centers are available and where you want to deploy your application. So you will be given the choice in which data center you want to deploy it. Now this depends upon what region you have selected. If you have selected say Phoenix region, that has got 3 data centers, but in case if you have selected Hyderabad region, that has got only 1 data center, so you won't see the other 2 there. And yeah, this is basically, you can see the Tokyo region. So Tokyo region has got only 1 data center there within the region, so you don't have a choice there. But yes, you have got various other options, other regions in which you can go ahead and deploy your application for high availability. Right. So next is, let's talk about the fault domain here. So fault domain is basically the hardware grouping within the availability domain. So here you can see my region, Phoenix region, or whatever region you want to select. So Phoenix region has got 3 availability domain, and these 3 within say each availability domain, you will see the fault domains available in it. Okay, now you can imagine this as a logical data center within the availability domain, and this gives you a choice. Like if you are say in your design, if you are using multiple fault domains, it basically reduces the correlation of failures within the availability domain. Okay, now each availability domain has got fixed 3 fault domains within it, and these fault domains are having a separate PowerPoint. They don't share the PowerPoints, common PowerPoint there. So they have got a separate PowerPoint, the separate hardware. So what is basically the importance of fault domains is, in case the instance is running on a particular hardware and that hardware has got some issues, something is not working there, if you have selected fault domain to deploy your application during the creation of the instance, your instance will be unaffected with these power failures or hardware failures. So that is where Oracle is giving you one layer of protection with the by giving you the option of fault domains. Now there is a choice to select the fault domain when you are creating your deploying your application. But in case by any chance you have missed it, or say I don't want to put anything on the fault domain from my end, let Oracle decide which fault domain is best for me. So if that is there, then Oracle selects on its own and each application you are creating, or say each resource you are creating, virtual machine or database you are creating, has got the fault domain in it. Either you can choose it or Oracle will allocate it from their end. So that is where there is no choice to escape from fault domain. Okay, it will always be there. Now many queries are there related to that whether fault domain is a chargeable thing or not. So Oracle doesn't charge anything for the fault domains. You can select fault domain for running your application while creating your virtual machines. You can select it there, but Oracle is not going to charge anything there. Now another usage of fault domain which is there is Oracle upgrades its hardware as well. Okay, time to time, and whenever there is some security fixes or hardware fixes or any package needs to be deployed at the underlying hardware, Oracle updates that, and that maintenance activity um, uh, is done. And at the time only one fault domain they are going to make sure that it is going to make the application available, excuse me, available on the other fault domains. So Oracle basically use it for the maintenance activity plan as well. So these fault domains basically have got two uses. One is giving you the protection from the power failure or hardware failure, and apart from that, when Oracle is doing the maintenance activity of their hardware, Oracle is utilizing the fault domains for that. Right, so here you can see for the compute instance, you have a choice to select the fault domains. 3 fault domains here are given. You can select it. And here, say I'm creating the database system, and you can see the fault domains there too. So at the time of creation, you will be allocating the fault domains for the virtual machines or the database instance. And Oracle is later, if you have not selected, Oracle is going to automatically assign it for you of their choice. Right, so here you can see how you can get the high availability using the fault domain. Now outer boundary is the region. In between that I have got my data centers there, and in that my fault domains are created. Now when I am creating the instance, I have selected, say for one instance I have selected fault domain 1 as my fault domain for running the instance, and another one when I am deploying it I am selecting fault domain 2. Now this is going to give me additional level of high availability in case my fault domain 1 is down. My fault domain 2 is always there to serve the applications or my end users, or say the business users. So this is how you are going to use the concept of region, availability domain, and the fault domain during the deployment. Okay, so with that, now here is the quiz time. Let's see. You can type your answers in the chat box. So which Oracle Cloud Infrastructure capability can be used to protect against the power failure within the availability domain? So let's see uh, all the answers there. I can see answers are coming. Okay, so as we have seen, so here you need to see that what it is going to protect against what. So protect against the power failure within the availability domain. So it is talking about that within the data center what is available, which is going to protect your resources or application or databases against the power failure. So we have seen that it is basically the fault domain. So whoever has given the fault domain, A is the correct answer. Right, so based on this basic concept, let's see the designing architecture of how this is going to help in designing our architecture or designing our deployment. So the first thing is we need to consider three basic points when you are designing any application. The first is make sure that you are going to avoid all the single point of failure. Okay, single point of failure means if I am, say, having only one virtual machine which is going to serve my business users, what will happen if that machine is down? My business users will not have any connectivity there. So what you are going to do is you are going to add a similar resource in parallel to that, which is going to serve the request for the end users. So now in case if my first application is down, still I have second which is going to serve it. So that is the single point of failure. So you need to find out all the points which are single point of failure. Apart from that, the high availability. Now this is going to give you the consistency against the load, against the any kind of issue, any kind of failure which occurs within your region or within your data center. So that is what is known as an high availability, that is you need to consider when you are designing it. And the third one is the disaster recovery. Any natural calamity is there, any hurricane, thunderstorm, or tsunami, anything is there, your data should be protected, your application should be protected from that. So there you need to basically consider about the RTO, RPO, and then design it within your Oracle Cloud infrastructure. Okay, so now this is basically, if you see here, this is my single region and has got a single availability domain in it. And this single availability domain has got 3 fault domains. So this is the basic architecture which we have seen it. Now here you are going to utilize the fault domains to give you an additional high availability against the against your power failure or against the hardware failure. But in case if your data center is down, then you will not be having access to your application in any ways. Okay, so availability domain and fault domains are basically all the fault domains are within an availability domain. So in case if my availability domain is down, then nothing can be done. That means my data center is not available and my instance is not going to be available. In that case, I need to plan either the another region which has got multiple data center, or I can select another region which has got one more data center there and I can deploy it there. Okay, so this is for the single region, single availability domain. Now if we see the single region and multiple availability domain, we have got a choice to design the high availability across the data center. We can design an high availability uh, within the region, but across the data center we can have it. So we can plan for the database high availability, we can plan for application high availability. The end users will be there. In case if my this data center is down, still my another availability domain 2 is available with all the application, and here my data is also getting replicated. So I just need some amount of time to bring this application up with the same level of data or what was here. So this is the advantage of multiple availability domain. Now here, if you see, you have got the protection in case if you have got multiple availability domain, you have got protection within an availability domain from the failures. If you have got multiple regions there, you have got failure protection from the failure within the region. And if you have got a region pair, say region pair is basically you are going to combine 2 regions, so that is going to give you the DR and also giving you basically the compliance against that. So Oracle basically have a concept of region pair, which also known as a realm. So you can design that and then you can have the same 2 data centers, 2 regions added in your account, which you can which will be protected, and Oracle gives you some extra security protection layer as well and gives you protect from your disaster recovery and compliance. Right, so there are 3 options for high availability. In case if we go with our second point of designing high availability, you can go with multiple region, you can go with multiple availability domain, or you can go with multiple fault domains. That is, these are the 3 options which are available for your high availability. Okay, now whatever we have seen it, now with that I have just collected the points and have put it here, so you can just go through that and this is going to give you the insight, or say in the nutshell what is the importance of region, availability domain, and fault domain. So you can expect a lot many scenarios, lot many questions in exam on 1085, which are based on the high availability design and the DR design. Right. Okay, so this is pretty interesting question. Another question for the quiz. So just put your answer in the chat box. So you have got a mission critical application which requires to be globally available at all the times. Now, what is the deployment strategy you are going to adopt? Now, I will, take a pause here and just, first analyze this question, what it is talking about. So here, if you see, it is asking for the mission critical application, which is going to be say globally available. Okay, not it is not asking that it should be any particular region it should be available. It should be globally available. And what should be my deployment strategy? Okay, so if I just say I highlight these are the 2 points which is going to be very important while designing my application. So mission critical means it should be available, it should be highly available. So I will just go with that. So highly available means it should be, in case if my region is down, that should be available. That is what the mission critical means. So this should be globally means it should be not regional but should be globally. Global access should be there, and mission critical means it should have a protection against the region as well. So I need to think from that point that if my region is not available, then the application should be accessible in another region. So I will be going with multiple region. That is what my take will be. So multiple fault domains in any availability domain in multiple regions. So my take will be answer D here, which gives me the protection, the maximum protection it gives it against like the fault domain, then the availability domain, and also with the across the region. So that is how we are going to tackle the questions in exam. So you can expect these kind of scenario based things in exam. So another thing, I think I will just move ahead from here, and yeah, let's talk about the tenancy. Atul, you there? Are there any questions there? We can take it
Yeah,
now.
yeah, Amit sir, there are a few questions. We can pick a
Yes.
few and then we'll move on to the next logical point. Okay, so we got a question from Jenny on YouTube. If each AD has three FD, could you select more than one FD while creating an instance?
No, Oracle gives you to select, allows you to select only one fault domain, okay, per instance, which you can select and deploy. So in case, how it goes is select one, create one instance, it will say have fault domain one. If you want to have an high availability, create another instance and you can select fault domain two. So you will have now your application running in fault domain one, fault domain two, and you have the application you have created. So it will be in like both the fault domains it will be. So that is how it works. But Oracle allows you to select only one fault domain.
Okay, we hope, Jenny, your question has been answered. We got another question from Ashutosh on LinkedIn. In case of multiple nodes like selecting Oracle RAC, can we have instances distributed across availability domains?
No, till now Oracle has not given that flexibility to create the domains in separate, create the nodes in separate availability domains. So it will be like managed at the Oracle end. So as of now, it is not there. But soon Oracle is going to add that.
Okay. Guys, please do hit the like button on whatever platform you are watching this if you are enjoying the session. And if you guys have any questions, please do put them in the comment section. Either somebody from Team K21 Academy will pick them up, or we can directly pick them on the stream as well. Yeah, so Amit sir,
Oops.
we are done with the questions. You can move forward. Thank you.
Right. So I hope it is making sense to everyone and you are liking the session. So give us the feedback of the session so that, that really is important to us and it motivates us to do, in a better way. So with that, let's see the tenancy in OCI. So most of you have already say registered your account, so it has asked for the unique name when you are registering the account, and it checks it internally as well that whether that name is taken earlier or not. And that unique name is nothing but the name of your tenancy. So tenancy is basically the account name with which you are going to have it, and this is secure and isolated partition which it's create in the OCI. So within that you will be allocated your resources, whatever you are eligible for, as a free account or say as a paid account, or if depending upon your request, what all is available, uh, or whatever you for whatever resources you are eligible for, that is going to be allocated in your tenancy. So this is equivalent to say the account information which you are going to have it. So tenancy is what contains, oops, sorry, all your resources, and within your tenancy, what you are going to select is the region. So region, in that region, or say in that data center, multiple tenants can be there who are going to use the resources or create the resources. But these all multiple tenants are isolated from each other. Like if you and me have selected say Hyderabad as a region, it is quite possible that on the same underlying server your and mine application is running, but we will not be affecting each other, or we will not be knowing about each other at all. So that is how it is. You are tenant 1 and I am tenant 2, so we can have multiple tenants within the same region, and Oracle is going to allocate the service portfolio based on for what you're eligible for. Like for the free account, we are not eligible for Exadata. You need to have a paid account for that. So that is where like that multiple resources will be allocated, whatever is going to be there. Right. So what I will do here is I can basically take you to the cloud account, and just walk you through what all you can see there. So this is say my cloud account is there, and right now in free account, Oracle just allows you with the home region, or say the data center or the region you have selected. But earlier Oracle used to allow us to create multiple accounts too. Right. So here I will, so you can see here now the Oracle account. Right. So this is my Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Console, and here you can see the region. So I have selected Frankfurt as my region, but if I just say click here, you can see another region as well, which is London region, UK South, which I have selected. So I have got multiple regions in my account, so I can plan for deploying my application across the data centers and can use it. Plan for the high availability, maximum availability for all my global applications. So this is say my region I can see, and if I say go here, I can even see the tenancy detail here. So you can see your account details. So this is what is known as the tenancy details under the governance and administration. If I click that, you can see my tenancy details, what is the ID, and what all. Yeah, so here you can see all the tenancy information, the CSI, what all information is available. And this is my say unique name, which at the time of account creation has been created. Now, apart from that, Oracle allows you for the region management as well. So here you can see, how you can, what all regions are there and what all you can subscribe it. So you need to subscribe the region. For subscribing multiple regions, Oracle is not charging you anything. Okay, but it will only going to charge if say you are creating any resource within that region. So these are say my regions, all the regions I can see 3 pages are there. So you can go whichever region you want to subscribe it, you can go ahead and subscribe it. In free account, it doesn't allow, but you can request Oracle in the paid account and say that, okay, that which region you want to have it. So you can see here all the regions which are available. Right. So let's move to our further tenancy here. Yeah, so this is what my tenancy information. Now, whatever region you have selected at the time of creation of your account, that region is basically known as the home region. Okay, so you can see that that region is basically the home region. So once you have created, you cannot change the home region by your own, but later, if you know what Oracle gives you the flexibility is, you don't change your home region, but you can add more regions to your tenancy. So that is how you can tackle it and create resources and utilize the resources from other regions as well. And region has got home region has got all your resources, user groups, policies, and various other resources are all created there. We are going to see a closer look on all these resources, so don't worry if you are not aware of like what's the compartment is, what are groups, users, policies. So don't worry about that. Right, so this is where the registration for your Oracle account is. So you can go through that. This like how I can go ahead and create my free account. You need to have uh, valid credit card, okay, or debit card with an international transition access, and you need to have a mail ID, and the unique name you can create it of your own choice, and that's it. So you can create it. Oracle gives you $300 of credit to that, or equivalent, like whatever currency you are going to select, it is going to make it equivalent to $300. And apart from that, it is valid for 30 days. Oracle gives you bunch of free services in that. You can get the step-by-step guide here, and can download it. And that free services which Oracle is providing is basically if you say your free account is done 30 days, or whatever the credit is left in that is going to be nullified there. But free services you can access it, and that if you are using it, and if you are say constantly using it, Oracle is not taking it back from you. But suppose for the 7 continuous days you haven't used it, Oracle will reclaim that. Right. Now there are multiple ways in which you can access your Oracle Cloud Infrastructure account. The first, which is the most convenient, and we are seeing it from day one, is like the IAM console, the OCI console, which we have seen it just now. That is one way of accessing the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure resources. Another is you can use the REST APIs. So it is like the HTTP based access within your say integration, or from the program you want to access it. You can just use the REST APIs. Oracle gives you the APIs, a lot of APIs for connecting to your instances, or talking to the resources, doing the exchange of data. So you can use that as well. Whatever you can do it from the console, you with your browser. The same thing, Oracle also gives you an OCI CLI, the command line interface, which you can perform all the activities from the command line interfaces. I know many of DBAs are here, and as a DBA, I'm also a DBA, so we are very much comfortable with the command line interface. So that Oracle gives you here as well. And another is like you want to access the applications via your code, your languages which you are creating your code with. You can use the software development kit through which you can communicate with the services. Right, so Oracle gives you the console, the REST APIs, which is an HTTPS request, the software development kit, which is say used for integrations with various APIs, or Java, Ruby, Python and Go language SDKs are available. Command line interfaces are there. So all the services are CLI based services as well. So Terraform is basically, now if I say, most of the things you can do it from the console, but how you can automate your entire infrastructure creation or your deployment and everything, you can manage it from the code, using the code. So Terraform is basically the language through which you can communicate with your infrastructure, and that is why it is known as an infrastructure as a code. We have a separate training program for Terraform, which we are starting from 21st this month, and you can even see the free class which is available there, and you can see. So maybe Shivansh, you can just put the link of the free Terraform class so that everybody can get notified. And apart from that, Oracle also gives you the resource manager through which you can automate your OCI provisioning, but that also uses the Terraform. Ansible is basically the another language, which is the configuration management language, which is used for deploying applications, orchestration, and even the provisioning of the infrastructure and deploy the applications over it. So that is so Terraform and Ansible basically comes on the DevOps side, and these are like very good automation tools which you can have it in your portfolio along with OCI. Right, so this is where you can see all my stuff there. Okay, so here is the quiz. Now, which three methods you can use to manage OCI? You need to select three answers. So give me like what you can select, put it in your chat box. So first is the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Desktop Client. Second is the console. Third is the SSH or RDP, command line interface, and the REST APIs. So I think it is pretty clear. The desktop client, there is nothing such kind of thing exist. Okay, the second is the OCI console, yes, through which you can access it. SSH or RDP is something through which you access the Linux machine or the Windows machine. Okay, but not necessarily it can be an OCI. Command line interface, yes, that is where you can access it. And REST APIs. So 2, 4, and 5 are basically the answers. Right, so with that, we are done with this module, which covers about the fundamental block, regions, availability domain, fault domain, and how they all can be utilized for the designing purpose. And we have seen the free account registration and accessing of the OCI. So this is about the module 2. And now we can basically take few questions. So Shivansh, if any question is there, then we can take it. Else we have
Yeah,
got time right now. So I want to start module 3 as well. So let's cover our one service at least, so that we
yeah.
are in a good shape.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you very much, Amit sir. Before we move on to the questions, there is one question that is coming up a lot. That is about the recordings of these sessions that we have for the session number one, session number two. For guys, session number two, session number one, and session number two will be available on the website at the link that was mentioned before as well. K21academy.com /1Z0-1085. And for the rest of the sessions, you for the session number 3 and 4, you have to uh, come and just be a member, or you have to directly watch it live. For becoming a member, you have to go to this webinar. I hope my screen is visible, sir.
Um, I need to see here, right? In StreamYard. Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, so guys, you have to go and register on this to become a member, and then you'll have the access for all the four sessions of this training. For session number 3 and session number 4, we will not be uploading the recordings, so you have to register on this particular link to have the access to these sessions over there. uh, you get a lot more than just Oracle OCI, and this is gonna be there as well. All the modules will be covered. Apart from that, there will be a library as well for every stage of cloud. You'll be getting the training for that, and like I mentioned before, it's not just OCI that is there. We also have Microsoft Azure Fundamentals and AWS Cloud Practitioner for beginners. All these trainings are currently going on different separate days of the week. So yeah, definitely, you the live session replays are also available there, and there's gonna be a community function as well that you can, whatever questions that you guys have, you can directly ask them on the WhatsApp group that you will be added once you register on this particular link that is at the bottom in the banner. So I hope that is answers. If you guys have any further questions for this, you guys, like I mentioned, there's gonna be a WhatsApp group as well. So if you guys have any questions, please do ask us on that. Yeah, moving back to the questions, sir, you can share your PPT, your presentation, and I can pick up all the questions that are to be picked.
Right. So before we pick questions, so I just need the feedback. Like, are we all these is making sense to you? Are we going good? The pace is good. So how is the session going? Is it all clear to you? Give us the feedback, please.
Yeah, guys, please comment in the comment section. Uh, how's your experience been till now? Please rate us
So you
out
can.
of five, five being the maximum. And if you're rating us less, it's completely fine. But please do mention how we can better these sessions for you guys. So please put it down in the comments section. Wherever you're watching it from, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, we will be we'll be looking at all the comments. And if there's something that you think we should improve, you can definitely put that down in the comment section as well, and we'll be picking that as well. So yeah, we have gotten the reviews. Thank you very much, Chandrasekhar, GP Maestro. Thank you, Mohammed Jahangir and Ramarju Musko. Thank you very much, guys, for rating us five. And should I pick up the question, sir, now?
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we got a question from Priyatosh. Does both the commercial slash government data center shares the same AD data center?
No, it is a completely separate design. So government data centers are altogether, separate from the commercial data centers. They are not sharing any kind of, hardware. Even they don't have any link with each other.
The next question that we got is, can my application will be in two data centers on two regions? Is
Oh
that
yes,
possible?
we can have it, right? So you need to subscribe the region, and you can deploy the application, your application in that region. So the only thing is you need to make sure that your two regions are having the network connectivity from your end. Like, you need to, when you are deploying an application, you first create the network resources, so those two networks should be talking to each other. So that's it. Then you can deploy it across the region as well. That is how it works.
Okay. The next question that we got is, the number of ADs tied to a region depend on the data for that region, correct? And how do we extend data center in a region which already has three ADs?
Uh, no, so Oracle has fixed that. Okay, so Oracle has got some methodology that they are coming up with the three data centers at the initial phase. So they have prepared it when they have started entering to the cloud. They have added multiple data centers to 4 regions in US. Okay, and in Germany as well. So Ashburn, Phoenix, London, and the one more is there. So those four data centers are basically, the 4 regions have got the three data centers. After that, Oracle is basically going in an expansion mode. So is adding single data center within the region. Okay, but in case if suppose there is a high availability design, you need to do it, but you want your data within the same country. So what Oracle is doing is, Oracle, depending upon the business, what kind of business is there, and how much the Oracle customers are there. So Oracle is adding multiple regions within the same country. Like in India, if we say, we have got two data centers, one in Mumbai and one in Hyderabad. Okay, so this belongs to the same country, but these are two different regions which has got single data centers within it.
Okay, thank you very much. And okay, we'll pick a few questions from our LinkedIn as well now. Ravindra Davande, I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm a little clumsy with the names. What will be good for Oracle DBA? Is it DBAAS or is it ISAS?
Okay, so what I understanding, what my understanding is, what is better for a DBA to go with. So Oracle Infrastructure as a Service is basically the OCI. OCI is the foundation for all other things, like whether you are a DBA or you are an apps DBA or you are a system administrator, you need to know about the OCI, that what all service portfolio is, and being a DBA, you need to know that okay, how you can design it. Now, as you are from the database background, there is a cloud DBA certification, or say the specific cloud DBA courses certification is there. 1Z0-1093 and 1Z0-1094, which is like for migration of the database to cloud and the cloud database portfolio. So these are the two things, two certifications which you can go with, and that will be there. But OCI basically remains the important aspect in case of any design. So everybody should know about the OCI infrastructure.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We'll just pick one last question before we move on to the next module. We got a question from YouTube by Mukesh Kulkarni. If we want to add any new region, does the cost increases for adding the region?
No, subscribing the region is not incurring any cost. But if you are say running any services in that region, that will be charged. And Oracle gives you the global rates. So Oracle is not having like services running in particular region is going to have a different cost. Round the globe, the cost of the service remains the same, but you can subscribe as many region as you want,
Okay,
free
we
of
got
cost.
yeah. Sorry, we got one question in GoToWebinar. Is there performance degradation in using all three of the fault domains? It's by Michael.
Performance degradation, no. It is within the same availability domain, so it is not going to have any kind of performance. That is basically meant for the hardware failure, or say the fault tolerant purpose. So it doesn't incur. There is no performance lag there.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We'll be picking up the questions in the next logical point whenever you feel like, sir. You can start with the next module. Thank you very much.
Right. So now we are moving to our module 3, which is say one of the biggest module in the entire this course. And we have even updated this module according to 2021 exam certification. So those who are say here who has already done the 1.085 certification, so this will be very helpful in renewing the certification as well. And apart from that, if you are say new to Oracle Cloud, then yes, here is this section basically gives you the complete service portfolio of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So we are going to have a look on these 5 services: identity and access management, network, compute, storage, and database. So we are going to start with IAM, and let's start with that. And in case if time permits, we are going to move to the network. But yes, we can target to go with at least one service today. Right. So this is what our agenda will be. We are going to cover the entire service portfolio in these 5 pillar services. So these services are basically known as the pillar services in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And IAM is basically the first service which you are going to deal with. So anyone who has created an Oracle account and later want to move ahead with any kind of deployment or any kind of design, the first encounter will be within IAM services. Okay, now what is this IAM service? So IAM service, if you see, is going to have the users, okay, the groups. So what are these users and groups? So how Oracle has designed is, whenever you are registering for an Oracle account, you will be the first user for your tenancy. Okay, and that user is basically known as a root user. Okay, and apart from that, you can even add multiple users who can have the access of the console. But just creating the user will not help you. What you need to do is you need to add this user to the particular group. Now whenever say you are going to uh, uh, give the privileges or anything, or any privileges you want to give it, you are not going to add it to the user, but you are going to add it to the group, and then you are going to add user in that group, so automatically those privileges will be allocated. So similar kind of services or similar kind of privileges you want to give it, you just create the group and then add the user to that group. So like most of you know about, like in various places like in Linux as well, we create the groups and then we add the user to that group, and whatever is required we give the group permission also, so that all the users in that group will have the same access. And apart from that, Oracle also has this instance level access. So we are going to see, this is a bit the next level we are going to see as we move ahead. I'm not going to cover it here. So this is like who is going to access your application. So it deals with who. Okay, that means the authentication part. Okay, that what is your authentication, the user credentials or whatever it is, whether you have access to the Oracle Cloud infrastructure or not. Once you are in, then it deals with the authorization part, what you are authorized for. Okay, like what is your role, what is your responsibility, you have it in OCI. So that is basically all deals with the policy. The access level privilege which you are going to give it to the user is going to be via policies. You need to write down the policies, and via policies you are going to get the access to the user. What kind of access you are going to give it? Either if you are a DBA, then you need to give the access to the databases instances. If you are say a system administrator, then you need to have access to the block storage, to the compute instances. If you are a network administrator, then you need to have an access about all the networking components, networking resources. So based on that, you can create multiple groups, add the users in that, and define your entire authorization and authentication policies there. Okay, now there is one more term which comes here, is the compartment. Now these policies can be added at the compartment level. Okay, so we are going to see that what compartment is. So we are, in Oracle there is the concept of creating the boundary first, and then do whatever you want to add the resources in that boundary, so that you can control the access of that resources. So that is via compartment. So this is a high level overview. Now let's see what all is there. Now this gives you the holistic picture of your all the IAM components. Okay, and here if you see, you have got the outer boundary, the dotted one, which is basically your tenancy, in which all the resources are available. Now in that, what I did is I created the compartment A and compartment B. This is a logical boundary which I have created. We will see that what compartment means. And within that compartment, I am adding the resources which I want, either the network resource or storage or compute or whatever resources I want to add it. I'm going to add it in the compartment. Now, how the user is going to access these resources, that I am going to you do it with the top three components which you are seeing it: user, groups, and policies. So what I do is I just write a policy for say compartment A and compartment B here, and add this policy and assign this policy to the respective groups. And then last, what I need to do is I need to create the user and add that user in the group. And that is how the user is going to get access to multiple resources. So here user one is going to get an access of say compartment A, and user 2 is going to be getting the access of compartment B. But at the same time, my user 2 cannot access in compartment A, or user 1 cannot access in compartment B, because I have not added it. Now a user can be added to the multiple groups as well. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk in the step-by-step process what compartment is. Okay, so compartment is basically the logical boundary which you are going to define it within your tenancy, and this includes the collection of various resources maybe related to each other, and then you are going to design that application. Like in my application, I need load balancer, I need compute instances, virtual machines, I need databases. So I'm going to create the compartment, and that compartment, in that compartment I'm going to add all the resources. So how I can define is, here you can see I have created network compartment and I have created storage compartment. In storage, I have added all the storage resources, and in network compartment I have added all the network resources. Okay, and these are the one, like I have created a boundary across it. Now when I'm going to give an access, I am going to give the reference of these compartment, that I want to give a particular user access to all the resources which belongs to compartment network or compartment storage, and then that is how I'm going to give the access. In OCI, the access level is given at the compartment level, or basically at the tenancy level. So like tenancy, I can give an access to all the tenancies there. The compartments are the logical containers, to organize and to control the access as well of your OCI resources. So whatever the OCI resources you are dealing with, then that is you can give the access to that. You can control the access of the user at the compartment level. So what you need to do is you create a policy to to protect your access or to limit your access of the resources in the specific compartment. Oracle allows you to create multiple nested compartment as well, like a big compartment. In that I have created another one, in that I have created another one. This basically deals with your business challenge, like I have I don't want to give access of everything to all my IT team. I want to segregate the role, I want to segregate the roles and responsibilities of, say, network administrator, database administrator, system administrator, that way, so that I can control it and give only the required access to the particular team, whichever it is. So I have, say, a centralized IT team, I have got a finance department, and I have got an HR department. And for each, you can see you have got the database, financial database and financial application is there, HR database and HR application is there. Now I want to give an access to the database administrator. What I can just do it, the centralized team is going to do it. It will give an access, like the access to only the database resources to the DBA, and only the access of say the network resources to the network administrator. So that is how the business challenge is answered by Oracle and has been met by a compartment. So here you can see I have got a compartment, I have got a centralized AT, and the IT network compartment, in which I have got all the network resources created there. I have got a finance compartment, and I have created an HR compartment, which is going to have their own resources, and I can control the access level of these resources accordingly. Right, so this is how your compartment looks like. So if I say, the entire Oracle Cloud Infrastructure console is driven by this compartment. Okay, so if I say, take you to my console here, so here you can see, let's see, I want to see my how many compute instances are running. And this gives me here that you need to select the compartment here. So if I select my compartment, I have got multiple compartments created. So if I select that, you can see here all my compute instances which are running here. Okay, and now if I want to see what all is there in this compartment, you can see I have nothing there. I can just go ahead and change the region, and then you will be seeing, you know, more resources which are running here. So that way, if you see, I am controlling my access or resources visibility, or say the list, using this compartment. So entire Oracle Cloud Infrastructure console is driven by compartments. And compartment plays the important role in the designing thing. The first thing which you are going to do it whenever you are deploying your application is you are creating the compartments. Right, so here you can see the multiple nested compartments which are there. So I have created, say, the same thing in the single compartment under the root. So root compartment is what at the beginning when you're registering your account is created, and in that you are going to create multiple compartment. Then I have created separate compartment under the root, or what I did it is here is I have created the nested compartment. A compartment is there. Within that I have created more types of compartments. So Oracle allows you to go up to 6 levels in the compartment design. Right. So each resource, whatever you want to, whatever you have created is belongs to a single compartment. But multiple compartment resources can interact with each other. Means you can give an access, like I have created one application compartment, one database compartment, and I want both the resources to get, talk to each other. So I can do that. All my user level access, I can control it with the compartment. Okay, whatever level is there, I can do it at the compartment level. And I can design the nested compartment, and which can go up to 6 levels. Right. So this is one of an important component of IAM service. Okay. Now IAM service basically has got principles. Okay. And it has got 3 types of user. Principles is like, how the access is granted. So we have got root user, IAM user, and instance principal. Okay, so root user is basically the first user which is created when you are registering your cloud account. That is what is known as the root user. And apart from that, whatever user you are creating, they are known as an IAM users. Okay, whatever users you are creating is known as an IAM users. So just creating of the user is not enough in OCI. What you need to do is, as we have mentioned, you need to create the user, put that into at least one group, and that group should have at least one access level policy, which will we are going to see it. So Oracle believes in the least privilege principle. That means if you just create the user, that user will not be able to do anything unless and until you are not adding to the group, and that group should have at least one level of one policy for the access. So that is known as an IAM user, which you are going to control. And apart from that, Oracle has got the concept of instance principle, in which whatever the virtual machines you are going to create, that itself can be used for the authorization purpose. Okay, so that authenticate the user, and apart from that also authorize to communicate between the services, which is basically implemented using the dynamic group. Now this is known as an instance principle, and it communicates with other services using the API calls. Okay, suppose an example here will be, I have created the compute instance. Now I want that whenever the compute instance is created, automatically some storage should be added to that, so that uh, the common storage or file mount should be added, so that the user can take backup on that. So that is like, if I want to create 1 or 2 instance, I can do it manually. But what will happen in case if I want to create 50 instances, it will be a too much task for me, a repetitive task. So for that, what I can do is I can define an instance principle and can directly go with that. So whenever the user is creating it, the authentication will be done on the fly using the instance principle, and then that user will be able to access the say a common location for the backup. So that is how it is. But yes, the important thing here is it avoids like storing the password file or storing the credentials on the compute instance. Okay, so you don't have to provide any password file or anything, which is a security breach and is not a good practice. So that is where your instance principle helps you in that without storing that, how you can authenticate it using the API call. Right, so this is our portal, OCI portal, and you can see all the services which are running here. You can see various groups here, which you can create. The administrator group is the default group, which is going to be there, right? Right, so let's talk about the IAM authentication, IAM service authentication. Okay, so authentication is like process of identifying who you are. Okay, that is like your username and password. That is how you are going to do it when you log into the account. And apart from that, the API signing keys you can create it, which is basically the public private key pair, which will be used for authenticating it, or say authenticating it during the time of if I'm accessing the services via command line or so. So that is how, if I want that from the command line to access my console, or how I can do the access the console, not from the not from the web, but from the CLI. There, if you authenticate your user, you need to create you need to go with an API signing key, which you are going to create it within your account. So you have an option here to create your API signing keys. So if I say go to the identity and access here to my user, now take any user. I'm going to just take any one user. Say, yeah, this user. And you can see on the left hand side, this is what my API keys are there, which is loaded. So what I need to do is I need to create this key from the command line using an OpenSSL command or so, and I'm just going to upload this. Now with my user, this user, if I want to access it and configure it for the command line, I can basically go ahead and authenticate it using the API keys. No username and passwords are required over there. Oops. Right. The
Amit
next
sir,
is
we've
the
got really sorry, but we've got a few questions. Can we pick them up?
just give me 1 minute. Let me just finish this part, and then we can pick it up.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay, the third option is the auth token. So this is like when you have any third party API and which doesn't support your OCI signature, that is where you can use the auth token. Like if I want to say upload data to my database using some CSV files or so, I need to authenticate it for loading it, say on my in my database. So where I will be using it. So this is going to give me say immediate token. I can create it for against my user from the console and can use that token for the authentication purpose. So there it doesn't require the username and password there. Right. Yeah, we can take it now. Yeah, Shivansh, we can take it now.
Okay, sir. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so we got a question on YouTube from Gerardo. Are compartments optional? At my last job, I don't recall being constrained in a compartment.
Compartment can never be optional. In fact, what I will say here is whenever you want to create oh, okay, it came here. Right. So what I will say is whenever you want to create anything here, it goes, you first it is going to ask is what is the in which compartment you want to create that resource. So the first thing is you need to have a compartment there. So suppose here I create a virtual machine, and here if you see, the first thing it is asking here is the compartment, and there is no option in which I can say that okay, I don't want to create any compartment. I have to give at least one choice here. Okay, so compartments are not optional, they are, I will say, the mandatory thing.
Okay, we got another question on YouTube from Niranjan. Sir, can you please briefly, shortly explain on the difference between groups and compartments?
Okay, so compartment is basically the logical boundary which I am creating it within an Oracle Cloud infrastructure to deploy my application. Okay, but what group is here? If I say go ahead, I'm going to create a group here. Okay, and then attach the policy. So here you can see I have created multiple groups. Okay, and this group here I need to add the user. So I am going to create the group, then add the user to that, whichever user I wanted. Now this user is going to have all the privileges which is assigned to this group. Okay, and that privilege I am going to assign it using the policy, and that policy will be, I'm going to give it at the compartment level. So groups are the one which accommodates the user, and groups are also the one which are basically going to give the privileges to the user, what level of access that user can have. Okay, so groups are the compartments are basically the logical boundary which I am going to create it within my tenancy. Yeah, we can move to the next
Okay,
one.
yeah, we'll just cover one last question by Arvind. If I have multiple resources in same compartment, how can I limit or define policy for a particular resource? Example, database, network, compute, storage to a user.
Right, so that you can control it with the policy. So Oracle gives you multiple types of policy you can create it. I think policy we are going to create there. Now this policy you can define it at at each resources. Like here you can see I am only giving access to the instance family, that means the compute instance. I can only give access to the load balancer. I can only give access to the database here. I can only give this access to the storage here. So that is how separately you can give the granular level of access to the resources, and that is how they can give it. They can have an access to that. Now if I am not giving, say, the database family access here, this user, whoever is going to be, the user is not going to have an access on the database side at all. Means it will not be able, he will not be able to access the database in any ways. Right.
So the last question, we got one on GoToWebinar. Its auth token is same as AUTH token is same as OAUTH token. It's by Abhiram on GoToWebinar.
Auth token and okay. So there, auth token and oops, sorry. Let me just. Auth token is, I will say that it is an OCI specific thing, and Oracle has an option here. You can see the OAuth, OAuth 2.0 client credentials also separately you can create. Now this auth token you can generate the token. So say I want to move my backups to the storage, my database backup, I want to move it to the say the object storage or so. So for that, authentication between the object storage and the database storage, I am just going to create one token through which it is going to identify that, okay, this is where I want to go, and it is going to authenticate it, and my backups will be moved there. So I can just create, say, for backup here, and generate a token. So this is going to generate the token. You can see here it is all going to be Oracle generated token, and I can just copy it because this is only going to be visible right now. I cannot retrieve it later by any means. So I need to copy it and keep it somewhere, so that when I'm configuring any resource communication which doesn't support the APIs, I can use the auth token and can perform the activity.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We can move on. We've got a few questions, but we'll pick them the next time we
All right.
get the time.
Okay, so we have seen about the authentication. Now let's talk about the authorization part. And authorization, as I mentioned, that authorization, like you have login to Oracle console. Now you are validated that, okay, you are the certified user. Okay, but what kind of privilege you have, what kind of access you have, that is where you need to uh, you need to know that what all you can do it, and that can be controlled by the authorization process. Now in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, all the privileges are basically controlled with the policies which are associated with the groups. So remember, this is important point here. Policies are associated with group, not users. Okay, that means you cannot give direct access to the user that, okay, you can perform those activities. What you can do is you can create the policy for whatever access level you want it, and add that policy to the group. Okay, and once you have created, then your created user, you can add it to this group, as I have shown it, how you can add it, and then that user will automatically get all the privileges of the policies which are attached to this group. Okay, so that is what the important point here is. Oracle controls the access via all with the groups, not with the user level. So that is where Oracle follows the least privilege principle or least privilege policy. So a user need to have at least the user need to be part of at least one group, and that group needs to have one policy minimum. Okay, now these policies are nothing but the access privileges which are you granted at two levels. One is at the compartment level, okay, and another is at the tenancy level. Okay, now tenancy is nothing but, I will say that it is the root compartment, right, which is going to be having all your resources. So if you want to have an easy understanding, you can just remember that policies you are going to give it at the compartments level. Okay, all these I consider it as a compartment. So tenancy means all the resources within your tenancy. Tenancy is a big access, larger access you are going to give it, and compartment is like the modular access. You are just restricting the user to that particular compartment. Okay, now how you can perform this, how what all uh, how you can add the policies. So here you can see Oracle gives you the modular level of access. Okay, either you can have an inspect level of access, read, use, or manage. Okay, so inspect is just to ability to list the resources. Read is either you can have the list the resource and ability to get the metadata as well of that resource. That is what the read level is, but you cannot alter it. Use means it has got both the privileges and it can also make the changes to that. And manages, it has got all the permissions for that resource, even the creation and deletion of that resource. Okay, now what kind of resource you can give the access? Oracle has got the aggregated resource type, like a bundle kind of thing. Like I don't have to go if I want to say give it to the network level, I don't have to basically go to each and every component and give it. I will say that, okay, network administrator, go with the virtual network family, which includes your everything, your network, subnets, route tables, security list, all the resources are there. Volume family, so for my storage administrator, I don't have to give it separately to each resource. This basically has got all the bundled resource in it. So this is known as an aggregated resource level policy. You can give it, or if you want that I want to give it at an individual level, individual resource type, okay, a modular level of access also you can give it. Like for the database administrator, I just want to give access to the DB system and the database homes. Or for the system administrator, I just want to give the access to the instances, but I don't want that whatever images I have created, that access that user can have. So I will restrict that to the instance level only. So this is a more granular one, and this is like the aggregated one. So simple policy will looks like that. Allow group name. See here again, the group we are adding it. Okay, the policies we are adding it to the group. Okay, so something like that you can have it either at the tenancy level or at the compartment level. Right. So here are some of the common policies you can see here. What I did is I have created one network admin group, and I have given the privilege to manage. This is the level of access. Manage what? Virtual network family, all the network family within the tenancy. So this is I have given it for the network administrator. Next is the instance launcher group I have created, and I have added the instance family to this compartment. So I have given it as the compartment level. So whatever my instances are created, only that access will be given to the user. Here I have also given the access to the storage part. So storage access is also there. So once the instance is created, a user can add the storage to that depending upon what is the requirement of the, how much is the requirement of the storage. And the virtual network family, it just, so here you can see I have given only the use level access. Okay, that means this can use the resource of network but cannot alter it. Like the instance launcher group cannot create or delete the network level of resources, but can use that resources for the deployment purpose. So these are like some of the policies, just an example how you can control the access of the users. Now, whenever I'm creating, say, a network administrator, I have got 3 network administrators. So I will create network admin 1, network admin 2, network admin 3, and add all the 3 users to this network admin group. So they will have all the access to whatever is given to this group. I don't have to individually go and give it. So that is how the group users policies work here. So this is like, you can see the policy statements. This is like the highest level of policy. Whenever you create it, you are giving the manage level of access of all the resources within the tenancy. That means this user is the super user, can do anything within your Oracle Cloud account. Right, so quiz time. Which 3 components are basically the part of Oracle Identity and Access Management Service? Put your answers in the chat box. So the first is regional subnet, policies, user, compute instance, dynamic groups, roles, virtual cloud network. What's your answer? So we have seen right now that regional subnets are, this belongs to the network service. Policies and users, yes, they both belong to identity and access management. Here we have asked 3. Compute instance, it belongs to the virtual network, virtual family, instance family. Dynamic groups, yes, so these are, this is the one which we haven't seen it, but yeah, this belongs to the identity and access management. This is basically a part of instance principle and will be used for creating, like, whatever the instance you created it dynamically, it will be allocated to that group. Roles, there is no such concept here. And VCN, this belongs to the network service. So the correct answer is B, C, and E. Okay. The next one, which Oracle Identity Management Service helps you to organize multiple user and teams? OCI identity and access management capability, which helps you to organize multiple users into teams. So when it comes to the multiple users can belong to groups. So groups is basically the correct answer. Okay, so this is basically about the identity and access management service, and I think we are spot on. We have finished it is right one service today, and I think, yeah, this is the time where we can take the questions now, Shivansh, and this is where we are not going to move further with any topic now. These services, the network, compute, all these services we are going to cover in our next session, that is tomorrow. So right now, in case of any questions or query related to IAM, we can take it. So Shivansh, any questions you can see now?
Yes, sir. We've got a few questions. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, we got a question from Yasir Khan on YouTube. Do we have any roles for user in OCI like owner, contributor, or reader?
Uh, no, we don't have any such roles, pre-built roles there. In fact, role concept is not in OCI at all. We have got the concept of groups and users. So here you can see in the identity services, you have got user groups, dynamic groups, the network resource policies, compartments, federation. So that is what it is.
We got one question from Riaz on YouTube. Is there any custom compartments that we can define which is not listed in compartments?
Sorry, come again. We can.
Is there any custom compartments that we can define which is not listed in compartments?
Yeah, means listed in the sense, the default is always the root compartment, but we always create the compartment, like all these compartment. The first one is the root compartment. If you see, that is by default created, but we only create this compartment. So all these are the custom compartments only, which we are seeing it here. So there is no predefined kind of concept here, which Oracle gives. Oracle's only create the root compartment, and then we create all our compartment as per our requirement. So here you can go ahead and define your compartment.
Okay, just a second. We are getting a lot of requests for demos, sir. Could you please tell our audience members when will be there be a demo?
A demo of like
Whatever we are discussing.
oh, that I have shown it here, but this is what the part of the demo only, because this is the foundation one. You just need to know the concept. For the demo purpose and all, we have got deep dive sessions and deep dive course 1072, which gives us the complete deep dive, like how you do the things, how you handle it, and how you give the access and everything. So here, as this is a foundation level, we are only moving with the concept right now.
Okay, we got a question from Mohammed on YouTube. What is the difference between groups and dynamic groups?
Right. So group is basically the one which through which you give the access to the user, and dynamic groups are the one through which you basically give the access at the instance level. So as I have mentioned that in Oracle, the virtual machine which you create, that also you can configure it for the authentication purpose, so that you can avoid saving the keys or the password in the configuration file of that instance. So Oracle gives you the option of creating the instance principal, where it uses the concept of dynamic group. And why that is named as dynamic is, once you create the instance and that belongs to say particular compartment or say policy, I have created it, that particular instances, all the instances which are created in the compartment, that should belong to that particular group. Now I can create one, I can create two, I can create 5, 10, 50, whatever it is. As soon as I create it, automatically it becomes the part of that group, and that is why it is known as the dynamic group. So
Okay.
dynamic group basically deals with the virtual machines, and groups basically deals with the user.
Okay, we got a few questions in our go-to webinars as well. Auth token is same. Sorry, that we covered. Groups are like roles. Then it's being asked by Michael.
No, groups are basically the I will say uh, the component we created, and we define multiple policies to that group and add the user to that. So here, if you see, these are all my groups. Okay, so I have say create a DBA group here, and I have added one user to that. So what I do is I create a group, and in that group I add the user. But apart from that, what I do is whenever I am defining the policies, that policy I am going to define it, you can see here at the group level itself. Okay, so group is basically, I will say, the bridge which connects the user and its access.
Okay. Yeah, we got another question on our go-to webinar. That is auth token similar to client credentials, hence machine to machine. That's why we do not have expiry. It's a query that they have.
The auth token, yes, auth token is not having any expiry from Oracle side. Okay, the only thing is, if you are done with that, go ahead and just delete that auth token. So that is there. So it is not having any expiry there. So if you delete it, automatically the access will be revoked.
Okay. Can we move on to the next question, sir?
Yes, please.
Uh, Users will log in with login password or any other authentication. It's being asked by Anish on GoToWebinar.
See, by default, Oracle, when you log in, it is federated with IDCS. But say if I want to, my organization is using Okta or any other SAML 2.0 related services, I can authenticate that, and that can be integrated with Oci Console. Even I can have a multi-factor authentication as well, that after entering the username and password, I can get a token on my mobile, and after that only I will be able to log in. So those kind of, so many things are there. You can even use your Oracle, even you can use your Microsoft Active Directory, which through for authenticating to your OCI account.
Okay. Yeah. We can move on with the session, sir. Thank you.
Right, so we are basically done with our today's portion, and we have what we have covered today is, let me just have a quick recap what we have covered it. So we have covered today about the fundamental blocks of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, the region, the availability domain, fault domains, and we have seen the designing concepts as well, and various ways in which you can access the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Now with that, what we have done is the next, on the service portion, we have moved on, and we have seen, a closer look of our identity and access management services. Here, if Oracle access management services, and we have talked about the compartments, we have talked about the user groups, and the policies, and the ways you can authenticate your user in Oracle Cloud, and about we have touch base on the instance principle, dynamic groups as well, and that is what we have seen it. And the next service, which is, I will say, the most important service, will be there, and I know there will be a lot of questions on that, how you define the network, how you design it, what is the CIDR and all. That is what we are going to cover in with a fresh fresh energy. In tomorrow's first topic we are going to cover with the network services. So that will be our next network services, and then we will be moving with the compute services and the storage services. Okay, so we are going to finish, we'll try to finish, I think, almost yeah, the module 3 if time permits, because I know that there will be a lot of questions there. And apart from the questions, we also have the various things which we need to cover for the 1085. So I really don't want to rush. We will take sufficient time to go through that. So that is what our agenda for tomorrow will be. So if you haven't registered it, just go ahead and register it there so that you can get an update. And yes, we are done for today, Shivansh.
Yeah, we just got one more question. Let's just pick
Sure.
that one up. From Ramarju on YouTube, I'm Oracle APBS DBA. Can you please give me the path for cloud?
So you mean to say he's an Oracle Apps DBA?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Oracle Apps DBA, if you are Oracle and Oracle Apps DBA, then you first go ahead with, like, you are doing the right thing. First step towards the cloud will be to learn about the 360-degree portfolio of Oracle Cloud. And once you are familiar with that, then you can take a deep dive in OCI. That is what my always preference and recommendation is. Go with the 1072, the detailed one, the solution architect course, associate solution architect. And once you are familiar with that, then go to the EBS on OCI, how Oracle is managing or Oracle applications on Oracle Cloud infrastructure. What are the tools? We have got an EBS Cloud Manager there to manage instances, and how you can migrate your instance to cloud. So lift and shift of EBS instances, you can do it, say, on your database portfolio, Exadata Cloud at customer, Exadata Cloud Service. So this is what you are going to learn there. We have got a course there for that, the 8 weeks program, which is we have recently finished that, but the new batch is going to be there. So you can even go ahead for the free session for that. You can, Shivansh, you can share the link for the EBS on OCI webinar as well,
Yes.
which we conducted. Yep. So
Okay, guys, please do comment down. Out of 5, please rate us how your experience was with the entire session. Please do, wherever you guys are watching it, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, so that we also get to know how your experience was. And for all the people who are asking regarding the recording of all the sessions that we have done till now and the future sessions, let me just give you a little brief about that as well. So we do the first two the session recordings will be available on the page, the registration page. I'll share the link of that with you guys again. And for the rest of the two sessions, that is session number 3 and session number 4, that will be only available for the members on our website. So this is the URL at the bottom banner that you can see, cloud.k21academy.com. So over there, there are multiple cloud courses that are available over there. We have AWS Cloud, Azure Cloud, Oracle, DevOps, and many more. Along with that, yeah, you'll have everything, different modules and all the different live sessions available there. Apart from that, there's a library available over there as well, which has training for every stage of your cloud career. Now that includes everything like I just mentioned, the session that we are doing right now. There's Microsoft Azure fundamentals as well, and there's AWS Cloud Practitioner for beginners. Then we have the live session replay. Whatever sessions that are going on here will not, you won't have the full recordings later on, but those recordings will be available for you if you are a member. And you also get the access to our communities that are different WhatsApp groups where you can ask whatever doubts that you guys have, and our team will be getting back to you. So for whoever is not a member, there are two different programs. We have an yearly membership, and we've got uh, and we've got a monthly membership as well. For monthly, we've got $59 per month, and for somebody who wants this as an all year program, you just have to pay $499. So you guys can go and register on the URL that is mentioned over there. That's k21academy.com /yearly or /monthly, according to however you guys want to register for it. And yeah, you're going to be getting a welcome mail like this from us. Over there you're going to get the login credentials, as well as how the membership portal works. And you'll be getting a WhatsApp group joining links as well. And there's a lot of things that you'll be getting an access to if you're a member. So yeah, like we all mentioned, and yeah, that's all. So I hope this is clear, wherever the recordings will be available for you guys. And we really hope that you like this session. And if you have any other session that you want us to cover, please do make sure that you do DM us or comment wherever this is posted, so that we get to know about your experience as well. For all the people who have commented or given us a rating of 5, thank you very much. We really appreciate that you are liking this session and getting a lot of use out of it. So again, thank you very much, Amit sir, for taking time off and being with us here.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed the session. And let's meet tomorrow again and just move ahead in our cloud journey. Thanks, everyone, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all the moderators who are here with us, Mohit, Varnika, Sumit. Thank you very much, guys.